Good evening, everyone. I'd like to go ahead and call to order the North Fair Oaks Community Council. And we will start off with a roll call.
Chair Linda Lopez. Here. Vice Chair Rafael Avendaño. Here. Councilmember Laura Kaplan. Here. Councilmember Beatrice Cerrillo. Here. Councilmember Mary Martinez. Here. Councilmember Dale Miller. Councilmember Everardo Rodriguez. Here. Councilmember Esperanza Vasquez. Here. Youth Member Diane Zermeño. Here. And then alternate youth member Jose Rodriguez.
Here.
Okay, thank you, thank you. And before we proceed with the agenda, there's a minor change. I'm going to move the supervisor's report after the approval of minutes. Supervisor's here, Supervisor Slocum's here, but needs to leave a little earlier, so we're going to accommodate him. And we can go ahead then, and we're going to swear in our new council members tonight. And Supervisor Slocum.
You don't hear me? Is it picking up on the mic?
There's your hand out.
So hold this, turn it on.
It's on. It's on.
It's on.
Is it on?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Doesn't sound
Okay,
that good.
we're really pleased, really excited to have
That's
two
not
council
on.
members joining the North Fair Oaks Community Council this evening. The Board of Supervisors actually last week, I think, or earlier this week, I can't remember, approved your nominations. And now we're going to go through the formal oath of office for you both. But first, let me share a little background about each of these new folks. First, right here, Mary Martinez. Mary was born in Redwood City, raised in Redwood City, and attended all Redwood City public schools. How about that? Including Fair Oaks Community School. She attended Kenyatta College and transferred to UC Santa Cruz, where she received her bachelor's degree in sociology. She's been working for the Redwood City Parks and Rec since 2000 and has been an after-school program coordinator since 2007. Mary now has two beautiful children, and in her personal time, she loves spending time with her kids, taking them to parks and museums, and just enjoying, as she said, a simple life. She also enjoys camping, reading, exercising, photography, traveling, and doing good deeds in the community. Mary and I and Irving met a couple of weeks ago at the coffee roaster down the street, and I can't tell you how excited and how nervous Mary was about that meeting and about joining you all on the council. She was so enthusiastic, it was catching, and I think we're really fortunate to have her joining the ranks of the council. So Mary, welcome.
Thank you.
How about a little... Everardo Rodriguez, of course, we first met when he came to office hours and was complaining. No, he was reporting on the sports house, and he had concerns about parking and trash and those kinds of things, and he kept coming back to office hours, back to office hours, back to office hours. And finally I said, you know, we really ought to just join the North Fair Oaks Community Council. We ought to make this official. And he said yes. And so he's here tonight. And let's give him a little recognition.
All right.
He's been a resident of North Fair Oaks for nearly 20 years. His education includes an MA in Library and Information Science from San Jose State University. He works as a specialist in Latino Mexican American collections and digital initiatives for the Stanford University Libraries. He's taken a keen interest in promoting a better life for all in North Fair Oaks, but especially for the kids. And we're grateful, Mr. Rodriguez, that you have graciously volunteered to be on the council. And I know you're going to make significant contributions, and we're all looking forward to to that. So thank you. Now, if you both stand and raise your right hands and repeat after me. I, and say your names,
Mary
Everardo Rodriguez,
do
Martinez,
solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to
and allegiance to
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United
and
States
the Constitution of California,
and the Constitution of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will
and that I will
well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations, you're official.
Thank
All
you.
right. Wow.
You have to sign these oaths, but I wanted everybody to see these beautiful certificates of appointments that we've made for both, and maybe you hang this on your wall in your office or at home, not sure, but we have these for you, and I do need you to sign these oaths. So we'll print your name and sign and date if you can.
Okay.
So maybe we should get a picture with you two standing here in front of the council with these.
Okay.
All right, there we go. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So where do you want it?
Yeah, we'll put that in the front. Yeah, we can do it in the front. Yeah, how about in the front here? Maybe shake hands. Shake hands. So one side or the other?
Huh?
Yeah.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I can just go like this.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Supervisor. Well, official welcome to Everett and Mary to the council. Oh, hi. She's here. Esperanza's here. Good. So we have a full council tonight, don't we? Except, well, for Dale Miller, but almost full. 99.9%. Okay. All right. So next thing on the agenda is public comment. We always have a public comment time on the agenda to give anyone up to 2 minutes to speak on any topic or issue that is not listed on the agenda. And I have 3 speaker cards here. Kent Mansky. Did you want to? Yours came in first.
Welcome, new council members.
Thank you.
This is a request for the North Fair Oaks Community Council to weigh in on decisions about El Camino Real and its effect on the North Fair Oaks community. Currently, Menlo Park and Atherton are having public workshops, very similar to what we have been doing on Middlefield Road, about changes, improvements, and safety concerns of El Camino Real. As you know, from Fifth Avenue North, Atherton and North Fair Oaks fall on each side of El Camino Real. At the Atherton community workshops, council members specifically have addressed wanting to make sure that the public weighed in on the discourse, because there are people that are very for certain things and very against certain things. An example of that is there's a large constituency of Atherton residents that would like to see a light at Selby Lane and East Selby Lane and Fifth Avenue. There's another large group that is totally against a light there, partially because it is 0.6 miles away from the light at Fifth Avenue. And it's an intersection that would clearly impact a North Fair Oaks community, particularly the Selby Park neighborhood. I did something to talk, so I will speak loud. So this is just a request that the North Fair Oaks Community Council consider being engaged in that discussion. And basically that discussion is involving Menlo Park, Atherton, and their relationship with Caltrans, who is very influential on the decision-making that goes on there. Very briefly, what was just determined at the last Atherton meeting, which was last week Wednesday, was that they were going to delay implementation of any major plans until Menlo Park made decisions about what they would do.
Give him 30 seconds.
But at that, we encourage the council to consider that small stretch as being influential in how it affects our community.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Kent. Okay, we have Eva Orbach.
Can I go before? Actually, we'll sit together.
Oh, Eva, are you Kyle Shafter?
Schaefer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You call me Shafter.
So, but Kyle and Eva, is it Eva or Eva? Eva, are you speaking on the same issue?
No.
Okay, so Kyle, you want to go first? Oh, okay.
Hey everybody, I'm Kyle Schaefer, so I first wanted to come and introduce myself. I've actually sat in on a couple meetings, so it's a familiar face, that's why. As you know, over the past couple of years, a number of parents have been organizing and asking, within North Carolina community, and asking for more school choices and options. And I'm the founding school leader and principal of the KIPP school that is going to be serving primarily the North Fair Oaks community, but in the Redwood City School District. So I first wanted to come introduce myself, and if there are ever comments, questions, concerns, and you ever want to set up a time to talk, I'd be more than happy to do that. I've met, sorry, I'm seeing the ears,
Yeah.
step back.
Yeah.
I've met with Irving before, I've met Raphael, I've met a couple of you before, but I'm happy to meet with anyone, so I wanted you to have a face to the name. Also, I've just been super impressed with the North Fair Oaks community. I wanted to give you an update on where our placement is for next year. So through the Prop 39 process, we've been really, really excited about working with the school district. They've been awesome. They've given us a preliminary placement at Kennedy Middle School, where we'll have a section of that campus for the KIPP school that, again, will be serving a number of families from the North Fair Oaks community. So I had lunch today with the Kennedy principal and assistant principal. They were awesome. We're just really excited to partner with everybody in the community to create another excellent choice for our families. And then the last thing is to give an update that it's a 1 year, the Prop 39 process is year to year. And the district has shared and we have shared and everybody knows that's involved that it is our goal to return to the North Fair Oaks community after next year. So I just wanted to give that update, introduce myself. Irving, I'm happy to be in the dunk tank next year at the North Fair Oaks Festival like I did this past summer for 30 minutes. Anything to work with the community, I'm here. Again, Kyle Schaefer, KIPP, and if you ever need anything, please reach out.
Okay, thank you, Kyle. Thank you.
Okay.
Eva Orbach.
Good evening, Fair Oaks Community Council. This is the first time I've had the chance to address you, so I just wanted to thank you for your service. I've met with some of you, but I'm Eva and I'm a community organizer with the group Innovate Public Schools. So we're a nonprofit. If you're not aware, we're a nonprofit that works around Silicon Valley with the mission of bringing world-class education for all students in Silicon Valley. And we do three main things. We publish accessible reports on schools so that parents can have access to the data. So some of you have a summary of our report if you'd like to take a look at that. We also train school leadership. So I've been working this year with the John Gill Elementary School to help them create a strong parent community there and make some really exciting changes for next year. And then we also organize parents to be engaged in their local public education system. So that's what Kyle was referring to in terms of the community organizing that's been going on in North Fair Oaks with families over the past couple of years. And they're really excited to have KIPP and Rocket Ship open for August of 2015. As you may have heard, the other school is Rocket Ship. That one is going to be located at 860 Charter Street, which is Charter and Bay. But it's looking like it will not be open by the start of the school year. So I just wanted to give you an update on that. So there's a couple hundred families excited and waiting for Rocket Ship, but because the site may not be ready, the district has kindly provided Hoover and Taft as a temporary space. The students will be split between those two schools, and I can give you more information about the grade split. But the students and families are really eager to move into their permanent location on 860 Charter Street by December of the year. During the winter break. And so I just wanted to say that anything you can do to support this Rocket Ship process moving along speedily would be really appreciated. I think that next month at your agenda, at your meeting, this will be on the agenda, I believe, to talk about Rocket Ship. And then it'll go to the County Planning Commission and then the City Planning Commission.
Okay.
Finally, I wanted to invite you all to a March 11th event, which we'll have in this room. And we're honored to have Supervisor Slocum as a panelist, along with Mayor G and School Board Member Hillary Paulson. So the event is for a celebration of all the families who work to bring these schools. It's to celebrate the district's leadership and to work with the city and the county and how we can all collaborate for a strong education in the future. So we hope to see you there on March 11th, right here at 6:30 p.m. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Eva. Okay, so we have our minutes that we need to approve, minutes from January 22nd. And everyone, are the new council members, you're getting all the backup documents? Everyone should have gotten the minutes emailed and, okay. So typically I give everyone a couple of minutes just to review them, and then we'll go into approving or amending whatever we need to do. So I'll just give you a couple of minutes. I know. Okay, so if we've all reviewed the minutes, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve minutes if there's no changes.
There was a mistake in my attendance.
Okay, what's the mistake?
It says I was absent, but I just came a couple minutes late.
Oh, okay. All right, so you were, okay. Any other corrections? No. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes with the correction. Okay, motion to approve. A second?
I'll second.
Okay. So we have a motion and second. All those in favor of approving the minutes of January 22nd with the correction that Diane was in attendance, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Okay, motion carries. Great. So actually then, Supervisor Slocum, if you'd like to go ahead and give your report.
I have to tell you how impressed I am with Raphael.
What'd he do?
Exactly. Thank you for that question. Last
What hasn't he
weekend,
done?
we were in East Palo Alto together to celebrate Black Heritage Month. And there were, I don't know what you say about this, but like bugs that the kids could play with, and like scorpions and snakes. And the kids really had a great time. There was food, there was a little entertainment, and of course I drove there. But a council member rode his bike 10 miles from here to there with his wife and with about 10 kids on their bicycles. And they got there safely. And then the program went on. And I saw you guys riding around the trails there. And then obviously you had to ride 10 miles back, right?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to thank him and recognize him for all that. And it was a really, I thought, great event out at Cooley Landing, which is a really beautiful place in East Palo Alto. If you haven't been there, there's a little park there, and it's worth going to. So, I was really impressed with your wife riding 20 miles. That's just awesome. I don't know how you got her to do it.
Thanks.
On February 12th, as Chair knows, we had a North Fair Oaks Community Leaders Breakfast here, or event here, and I think it was pretty well attended, and people were excited. And of course, Ashley and Ellie did a great job at organizing that and doing the centerpieces and making the room look special. So thank you for all of your help doing that. On March 17th, the Board of Supervisors is doing a study session on affordable housing. And of course, I know that for the North Fair Oaks Community Council, that's an issue that you will be talking about in the future, and I would invite all of you to come on March 17th. It's going to start at 1:30, and next week I understand that the affordable housing white paper will be posted on the county's website and will be available for you to read and study before that. But I would just encourage you to come, and public comments are going to be taken, and it's actually going to be, I think, very educational and informative, and I'm sure there will be some lively conversation. And I want to thank Deputy County Manager Peggy Jensen for all the work. It's been a lot of work putting the white paper together and doing all the research and getting us organized. And so thank you for all that effort. That's March 17th. Also on March 17th, if you want to make a day of it, from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. right here at the Fair Oaks Community Center, we're going to be having a AB 60 workshop. AB 60 is the undocumented driver's license bill. And so folks that are undocumented could come to this workshop and find out how to get a driver's license here in California. We have these flyers. I don't know if there's enough to pass out to all the council members, but it's 7 to 8:30 p.m. March 17th here at the community center. And if you need more information, of course, contact Irving Torres. March 21st from 9 to noon, the clinic right down the street will be celebrating their 1-year anniversary. Hard to believe if you've been there recently. You know, the front part of the old building has been torn down. The parking lot is nearly done. Landscaping is just about done. And it's really quite a facility. It's quite an addition to the community. So from 9 to noon, March 21st, they're going to host a Community Healthy Fair. That's on a Saturday, by the way. And if any of the council members want to ride their bikes over, I would certainly invite you all to do that. I'd be happy to answer any questions, should you have some, as long as they're easy questions, about what's going on in the county or with charter schools or El Camino Real or anything that might be on your mind. If I can't answer it right now, we'll certainly get back to you. Seeing no questions?
Any questions? No? No, I think we're good.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Supervisor Slocum. Just a note on, a side comment on the health fair that's going to be at the Fair Oaks Family Health Center. They've actually are requesting that the council, or they're leaving it open, that we set up an information table at the event. So maybe that's something we can maybe decide towards the end of the meeting, and then whoever wants to help with that, we can go over that. It's not on the agenda, but since you brought it up, so we can take it one step further and do something informational. March 21st from 9 to 12 at the Fair Oaks Health Center. Okay. Okay, so next on the agenda is the presentation on the restaurant placard program. And Kamisha Nichols? Who's Kamisha Nichols? Oh, okay. All right.
We both work for San Mateo County Environmental Health.
And what is your name?
Annie Mishka.
Mishka, okay.
I came prepared to do this presentation in English or Spanish or both. It seems like English is the language of choice this evening. Should I go with English?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So they work environmental health, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so today, this
Okay.
evening, I'm gonna tell you about our proposed restaurant placarding system.
And I'm sorry to stop you for a second, and we should have figured this out ahead of time. But is it going to be possible to move the podium on the side more, because you're blocking completely? Is that too much of a hassle to do that? Oh, okay. Or move the screen, or move the screen maybe, Ellie? Oh, I don't know which is easier.
That's good.
Oh, yeah, perfect, yeah.
Thank you, Ellie.
Thank you.
And do I need to hold the microphone? Yes? Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so my name is Emmy Mishka. Is this working?
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm an environmental health specialist with the County of San Mateo Environmental Health, and Kamisha Nichols is one of our food program supervisors. And we want to tell you today about this restaurant placarding system that's proposed to begin in January of 2016, and it will be affecting all of the restaurants in North Fair Oaks and throughout San Mateo County. And Environmental Health Services is responsible for permitting and inspecting all of the retail food facility under what we call the California Health and Safety Code, or Cal Code for short. And our goal, of course, is to prevent foodborne illness. So we're going to be proposing a placarding system for all the restaurants. So placards are signs that just simply translate the results of a restaurant inspection so that it's easy to see for the public. And there's lots of different kinds of placards. These are placards that are used mostly in California. One of these is from Hawaii as well. Some counties use letter grades. Some use scorecards or numbers. Others use colors or phrases to show the food safety status of the facility. But it's not meant to determine the quality of the food or how the food tastes. It's about food safety. So why are we doing this? First of all, there's a lot going on in restaurants. They're really busy. They have a lot of managers have a lot of concerns. And we want operators to really focus on the critical elements of safe food handling, which are the focus of this program. Second of all, a green placard at a restaurant is good publicity for the restaurant. It lets the public see right as they walk in. A green sign in the window means things are probably safe. It's safe to eat here. And it demonstrates that they've had successful food safety practices. These placards also help the consumers to really have easy access to the inspection results. Instead of having to scan something on their phone or go to our county website, which the results are available there, at least this will be a summary of what the results were on the last inspection. So the system that San Mateo County Environmental Health is proposing is a red, yellow, and green placarding system. And we'll discuss later in the presentation more specifically how it works. And these placards are in addition to our existing inspection program. This food safety placarding system will help consumers to quickly make informed decisions about where to eat based on the food safety, and also create an avenue for the restaurant operators to really showcase their successful food handling practices. In 2007, Sacramento County took the lead in the state to implement their placarding system, and they also did a green, yellow, red system that showed the restaurant's ability to practice safe food handling. And across the Bay Area, lots of counties are adopting this placarding system already. Over the next year or two, San Mateo County will join lots of cities and counties throughout the county, throughout the Bay Area. The ones here with the stars on the map are ones that either already have a placarding system similar to to what we're proposing, or will be over the next year or so. So that's why we're reaching out to the communities, to the food facilities, to get feedback on this proposed system. So the reason that San Mateo County wants to go with this color-coded placarding system is because it focuses on safe food handling practices, which can reduce the number of foodborne illnesses. The types of violations like floors, walls, and ceilings that need to be replaced and updated, those types of construction-related violations can cost lots of money, thousands of dollars. And it's important for those things to be fixed, but we'll have a separate timeline for correction for those kinds of things. And those types of violations will not affect the color of the placard. Most of the time, by changing the food handling practices and by retraining employees, the restaurant can improve the food safety status of the restaurant without much cost at all. And those are the types of violations that are really the most important. So we'll talk about the types of facilities that will be placarded. It's all the food facilities in the county. So that includes restaurants, bakeries, schools, licensed healthcare facilities like hospitals or skilled nursing facilities, gas stations that prepare food. Even our mobile food trucks will have these color-coded placards. And in grocery stores, sub-facilities like a deli or the carniceria, what do you call that part? The meat cutting part. Those ones all are considered sub-facilities, so they'll each have their own colored placard. So there won't be just one colored placard for the entire grocery store in most cases. So with these color-coded placards, at a glance, the customers will be able to see the colors and know that a green placard basically means go, and it's a passing food safety inspection. Yellow is kind of like caution or conditional pass, and it means that the facility will be re-inspected again within 1 to 3 days. And then a red would mean stop, where the facility will actually be closed for unsafe conditions until they're corrected. And the color of the placard is determined by the number of major violations that are observed during the inspection. So in order to get a green placard, the facility can have no more than one major violation during the inspection. For a yellow placard, the facility has 2 or more major violations. And with a red placard, the facility would be closed because the observations that were observed are actually imminent health hazards that could cause somebody to get sick right away. And if they can't be corrected at the time of the inspection, that's when the facility would be closed. So I've used some of these terms, and I'm going to go back and define them. So a major violation is a CDC risk factor that contributes to foodborne illness outbreaks. And so therefore it poses an imminent health hazard that requires immediate correction. So examples of these would be lack of water or not washing hands when the employees need to wash hands, a vermin infestation, sewage backing up in the facility, inadequate food temperatures and inability to keep the food at the right temperature, and then contaminated food. Some other examples would be not having soap or paper towels available for hand washing, holding food within what we call the danger zone, which is between 42 degrees Fahrenheit and 134 degrees Fahrenheit, not cooking food to the proper temperature, having dirty food contact surfaces, or selling food that's from an unapproved source, such as selling meat that doesn't have USDA inspection. And then a minor violation is a violation that does not constitute an imminent health hazard, but it does create an unsanitary condition and requires correction, but on a longer time frame. So some of these things would be missing covers on a light bulb, dirty door handles or dirty faucets, chipped floor tiles, things like that. So this placarding system would change very little in our food facility inspection program, and we'll continue to conduct inspections based on the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's risk factors, and we'll continue using our same procedures for conducting inspections. So the criteria for closure of a food facility stays the same, and also the frequency of the inspections would stay the same, which for most major restaurants with extensive food prep, like most of the restaurants along Middlefield get inspected 3 times a year. So the environmental health specialists, the food inspectors, will continue to do unannounced inspections at the food facilities, and then we'll just be adding this color-coded placard on top of it. So the color of the placard will be based on the number of major violations observed during the inspection. So if there's no major violations or one major violation that is corrected, then a green placard would be issued. If there's 2 or more major violations, and again, they're also corrected on site, then a yellow placard would be issued. And then the facility would be re-inspected within 3 business days. But if the violations, or at that re-inspection then, if the violations still are corrected and there's no additional major violations, then it would get changed to a green placard. So they'd have that yellow placard just for a few days until they're able to keep things in good standing and be able to get a green placard. But then if violations are observed that are imminent health hazards or cannot be corrected, then the red placard would be issued and the facility would be closed until they're able to correct all the major violations. So right now we're holding this is probably one of our last community meetings to get feedback on this proposed placarding system. And then in June, which actually I think that's been moved up to maybe May, this proposal will be presented to the Board of Supervisors for hopefully their approval. And then in January of 2016 is when the placarding program would actually start. So for the 6 months leading up to that, we would conduct our inspections as normal, but then we would conduct kind of a training session in essence to talk to the operators about this is what your food facility status would have been, this is the color placard you would have gotten at this inspection, and talk to them about how they can improve their status so that if they would have gotten a yellow, how can you strive to get a green placard to improve the food safety status of the restaurant. And we're going to be providing these classes which we're calling How to Obtain and Sustain a Green Placard to help the restaurants understand how they can avoid major violations and keep the food safety safe. And then at the individual inspections, we'll be providing additional consultation and outreach to the restaurant operators and managers. So if you have any questions or feedback, yes?
Oh, go ahead.
I have a question because I'm not clear how this differs from your current practice.
Sure.
And also how it would benefit the consumer, because it sounds like everything's the same. And I mean, if a restaurant's closed, it's closed. Mm-hmm. And if it's green, it's green. It's not showing any gradations or history. It's just saying it sounds to me like the only useful information would be if there's yellow, wait 3 days until you get a green. So I'm not clear how this really benefits the consumer or what's different.
So right now, our practice is that we give the restaurant a copy of their inspection, and right now they're required to post that inspection in a place where the public can see it. So that varies greatly in terms of whether they put it in the window or behind the cash register or someplace where you can't even see it. And also, there's just a little box at the top that says food facility status is excellent, good, poor. Average. Yeah.
But you don't have those. You just have red, which means they're closed.
I'm sorry, what was it?
Right now, it sounds like you just have red, which means
right
they're
now
closed.
We don't do the placards at all.
Right. So I'm not sure there's no gradation, it sounds like, that would be. How is it helping?
So right now, the only way that the public would know without going on our website, the only way that they would know what the food safety status was is if they somehow found the inspection report at the restaurant and read it and everything. With the placards, which you can see in the back, the examples of what they'll look like, that will be required to be posted at the entrance of the restaurant. So right when you're walking in, you'll see green, yellow, or red. And you won't see all the violations that are associated with that, but at least it'll be more visible instead of having to look for the inspection report, which may or may not be posted.
So I'm sorry, so it's more about just being more visible to the public because people aren't accessing the website?
Or the inspection reports, too.
Oh,
because
okay.
right now, the inspection reports should be available
I mean,
to the
it's
public.
a good thing to, first of all, assess, what restaurants are doing and everything. You made a comment, though. You said most get inspected 3 times a year, so that's current, correct?
Yes.
Why most, or why not?
Do you want to go ahead?
Do you rotate that, or how do?
So basically, right now, we have our restaurants categorized by risk category. Okay. So it's basically the complexity of the food that they cook. Wow. So if a place is cooking a lot of food, they're having to cook it, they cool it down, and then they have to reheat it, then that place is a high-risk facility, and we would inspect them 3 times a year. We also have medium-risk facilities, like your fast food places, that they cook to serve, so they don't keep food overnight. Those type of places are considered risk category 2, and we would inspect those 2 times a year. Then there's prepackaged places like your convenience store or something like that. They only get inspected once a year because they are low risk.
Okay, thank you for that. Just point of information, please, for the council. We're not taking action. We're just strictly informational. So are we, though, looking for some consensus here or agreement? No. Okay. So you have a question? Do you need this?
I am wondering, thank you very much for your presentation. I think it's a great plan. I am wondering if you guys have in plans a way to educate the public. Of course, if a restaurant gets their red placard, there's no education to be done, but to distinguish between the green and the yellow, and just to get people used to this system, I think it would be important to implement something like that.
Yes, we actually do. On the second, once we, hopefully we can get it approved by the board, and once we get it approved by the board, then we're going to do a bigger outreach push that will actually go out to the community and all the constituents that live in San Mateo County, as well as do another outreach for the restaurant operators.
Thank you.
I was wondering, let's say in a grocery store where they have the hubs, they'll have the deli, they'll have the bakery, they'll have the coffee shop, they'll have the meat, the butcher place. Will each of them have a designated card within that big facility? Like say a Safeway, for example.
So say a Safeway,
Yeah.
there's different areas of a Safeway. You have like the bakery, the deli, the sushi bar, and so forth. So each area that is its separate own little entity will have a different placard. So it's based on that food safety that they have in that actual area.
Okay.
I have a question. For schools, where would the signs be posted?
So for schools, the signs will be posted at the cafeteria. So as the kids walk in or parents pass by, PTA meetings you may have in the multi-purpose room, the parents will be able to see. So it'll be posted at the...
Will the kids be educated about what those signs mean?
We will be looking into that. We haven't decided on how we're going to really educate the kids. We do plan on putting information at the libraries and at different areas throughout, like Parks and Recs. We're planning on looking at those different avenues.
Okay, and I just wanted to make one thing clear. So one major violation, that's green, but two major violations, that's yellow?
Yes.
Is that correct? Isn't that still putting the public at risk?
So what happens is if you get one major violation, you still have to correct it on site. Any major violation that is not corrected on site warrants a closure, and that's something that we already do. So if they have two or more major violations, we're going to still have them corrected before we leave, but we're going to come back and make sure that they're consistent because we want them to develop habits to make sure that they continue on keeping the violation corrected.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I still don't feel like my question was answered. I'm sorry.
Ask your question
Yeah,
again.
the question again is, how does this benefit the public? In other words, if you get green, you've already corrected your violation or you don't have one, so there's nothing there. If it's red, it's closed, so there's nothing there. There's nothing helpful there. It's closed. If it's yellow, it's saying that's the only one that's kind of like putting somebody on notice. But it's only going to be there for 3 days, and it's saying, really, it's not safe to go here for the next 3 days. I mean, that just seems like there's not much gradation there. There's not much in the way of actually anything helpful to the public. That's what I'm trying to get at. How is that different from what you do now, which is if they don't correct the violation, you close it, or you put them on notice?
Well, they're still going to correct the violations on site. So even if they got a yellow placard in the window for 3 days or however long, the violations will have been corrected before the inspector leaves. But right now, you can give a restaurant a whole list of violations, and they really have no incentive to correct it. Besides the fact that they know they may or may not know that after a number of re-inspections, we'll start charging them an hourly rate. But otherwise, they don't have much incentive to really correct them quickly.
So if they're yellow, you mean?
Any violations.
Well, don't you want the yellow to turn to green?
Exactly.
Right,
That's the incentive for the operator. Right. That if they have a yellow placard, the public's going to know about it. Versus some inspection report that probably gets put under the cash register or whatever, and the public never sees it, and they don't know then about all the violations. So if the public sees a yellow placard in the window, then it's more incentive for the operator to get the violations correct, keep them, because they're going to be corrected before the inspector leaves, but to keep them under correction so that when the next time they'll get a green instead of getting a yellow.
No, I think it's a good program, and I think that if council members have additional ideas for expanding the outreach part of it, then we can pass that information on to you. But if there's no other questions on this topic, we're going to move on.
Well, I just have a comment. I'm saying if you're going to placard all the restaurants, I think you should take the initiative and decide where the placard should be, and it should be visible for everybody's safety.
So as we propose this placarding program, we will give our view on where we think the placard should be posted, and that'll come with the ordinance review. So once we present it to the board, we'll get feedback, and then we'll have it posted where it should be. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, I think that, I'm trying to remember. Oh, Kamisha and Amy, thank you. So we're going to now go into our action items on the agenda, and we have election of officers. Now, according to our bylaws, elections take place the second regular meeting of each calendar year, and we're looking at three positions: chairperson, vice chair, and secretary. And those officers are actually elected to term for 1 year, but there is no limit on the number of terms for which a member may serve as an officer. And let's see. Let me just go over a couple of things. So the chairperson's responsibility is to preside at all meetings of the council and perform duties from time to time assigned to him or her by the council or prescribed by bylaws. Chairperson shall act as a duly authorized representative of the community council in all matters in which the council has not formally designated some other person. And in the absence or disability of the chairperson, the vice chair shall perform all of the duties of the chairperson, and when so acting shall have all the powers of be subject to all of the restrictions upon the chairperson. And the third officer is the secretary. The secretary shall keep or cause to be kept minutes of meetings and of actions taken at all meetings of the community council. And this is the one that I have a question about, because we're not really utilizing that position. So, I mean, right now we do have a chair, a vice, and a secretary, but I don't know if we need to run the election for that position, just to have it. It's just a question I have. Because actually, Irving does take the minutes and keeps all of that communication, in order for the council. So, or if it's something that the council is going to want to change or expand on, I don't know.
Yes, so the way the bylaws are written, you are set with those three officers, including the secretary. If you're interested in amending the bylaws, that's something that we could consider.
Okay.
If you feel like it's an officer that's not needed for your purposes.
Well, I think at the, okay, I see those are our options. Because I think at the time this was written, the secretary was actually taking minutes. Is that correct, Laura? Oh, I think so. I remember at one point there was a secretary for the council, and that person was actually taking minutes and getting copies out to everybody. So things have changed since that time. But I think for now, until we maybe propose to make any changes, we'll just leave it as it is. So I think actually this is the first council election that I'm going to actually coordinate, or not coordinate, but oversee. So we ask, I'll just open it up to nominations. I'd rather take each position individually. So I would like to just open it up to nominations for chairperson. And I think that people can actually nominate themselves. And let's see how far we go in that matter.
I nominate Linda Lopez for chair.
Thank you.
I second that.
Oh, okay. Any other volunteers? Anyone really dying to be chairman? Okay. If there's no other volunteers or nominations, I will accept that. And we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of having me stay on board for my second term, this will be my second year as a chair. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. All right. Okay. Just asking. Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's fine. And so now the vice chair, currently Raphael is serving as vice chair. I actually nominate Raphael as vice chair. Okay. Any?
But I don't know if he needs to come from other secretaries.
Well, yes.
Are there any other?
Let's, we can open it up for discussion. So there's a motion, there's a second. So any other recommendations, nominations, volunteers for vice chair? Okay. So there's a motion and a second. And actually, excuse me, I can't motion because I'm the chair. So I'm going to rescind my motion.
I will move that Raphael as be the vice chair.
Is there a second to that motion? Okay, thank you. So all those in favor of Raphael serving his second term as vice chair, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. Okay, congratulations, Raphael.
Thank you.
And the last position is secretary. And currently Beatrice is holding that position as secretary. Yeah, if you want to open it up, however you want to do that.
I nominate Ever.
Okay.
He has a great expertise in that department.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Okay, very good. Any other nominations for secretary? No. Okay, so we have a motion for Ever as secretary. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motions carry. So new officers for this term, Linda Lopez as chair, Raphael, vice chair, and Ever secretary. Thank you, everybody. Oh, that was easy. Okay, so now we're going to go into art. We're going to, I'd like to introduce a presentation by Ellie Dahlman, and actually Kent Mansky is going to co-present. This is the result of the public art work group that was formed as part of, it was formed to basically carry out a proposal in the North Fair Oaks community plan that we need art, and specifically the project that's outlined in the North Fair Oaks community plan is to bring more of an identity to North Fair Oaks, and we can start doing that by having strategically placed art at our entryways into the community. And I will let Ellie and Kent be more specific about the locations and more detail. But I wanted to go ahead and present Ellie and Kent Mansky to give the presentation on the silhouettes and colors for the North Fair Oaks entrance signs.
Good evening, North Fair Oaks Council, county staff, and North Fair Oaks community. My name is Ellie Dahlman, and I'm here with Kent Mansky as representatives of the Public Art Work Group. After many work group meetings and after collecting community input, we're very excited to share a final recommendation for the 4 North Fair Oaks entrance signs. And based on input we received at the last community meeting, the work group has identified a silhouette shape for each specific location that are pictured here, and they're also included in the packet that you all should have received. And a quick note on the color, we want to make sure that the colors that we use are the most durable and long-lasting. So it is possible that 2 of the color concepts at 2 of the locations may change. But otherwise, I just wanted to run through each specific location, which is also should be pictured in your packet. So we have 5th Avenue and Fair Oaks, where the skateboarder will be placed right here on the corner. And we have Semicircular and Middlefield Road, which is right in front of Garfield Elementary. We'll have an entrance sign placed right here in the median strip just before the tree there. And also in front of the community center here, just behind the bus stop, there will be the mother and daughter silhouette will be right in this area here. And finally, we have 5th Avenue and El Camino Real. It's actually 5th Avenue near El Camino, so as you're approaching Middlefield Road from El Camino, just before you go under the train tracks, there will also be a silhouette placed in the median strip of a musician. And so each silhouette will be approximately 10 feet tall. It will be one solid color with North Fair Oaks written up the middle in white. And Kent is here to answer any questions you have in terms of specifics, but this is an action item on your agenda, so we are asking for you, for your approval of this recommendation to move forward with the next steps to implement the entrance signs. So if you have any questions or comments.
I do have questions. The silhouettes on the man with the guitar, does he have to wear the hat?
That's a good question. I don't think he has to wear the hat, and I don't know if...
Can you remind us how you came about, I mean, these are based on real people, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, you actually photographed them or?
Correct.
I forgot, can you just,
In full
just
disclosure, I
yeah.
supplied the hat also.
Oh.
So the hat was just part of
Just
characteristic of a musician. If you recall, way at the very beginning, we had a mariachi player. And there was group feedback that something so culturally specific may not be as embracive if we had it more culturally neutral. And by putting a hat on, it felt like it could be a range of music styles, as well as it's a characteristic when you go to hear live music. A lot of musicians wear a hat, partially because the lights aren't so bright.
Well, to me, this does not resemble a mariachi hat.
That is correct. It was changed from a specific mariachi hat to a more generic hat.
Now the other one with the mother and the carrying a child. To me, if you're looking at the silhouette, to me, I'm second guessing when I look at that silhouette, whether it's a man or a lady carrying the child. But right here it says mother carrying a child. So.
Would you be more comfortable if I put her wearing a dress.
Well, it's something that is not for me visible as you see the picture itself of the silhouette. I mean, I don't know if because of the coat long or the hair, or I don't know what it is, but to me it doesn't look like it.
Two adjustments that I
The
could
mother.
easily make for the musician would be, if you and other council members are opposed to a hat, I could revise the hat. For the mother, we could give her hair that was extending off her back, and it would make
maybe
it
a
much more
dress or
clear
something
that
that's more
it was female. I could also
distinguished.
put her in a long dress, a dress right below the knees.
I actually like it like this.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, somebody could take it as a man or somebody could take it as a woman. Like, there are a lot of children who have one parent or the other, so I feel like they could say, like, oh, look, me and my dad, or oh, look, me and my mom. You know, like, children could take it, like, either way they want. So I kind of like it like that.
Just because on the letter says mother.
Yeah, you know, when I look at that, I just see parent and child.
Yeah.
That's what, when I look at it, that's what I see.
So we can also change the description that's written here of the silhouette.
Parent and child.
But really what will be represented in the community is just the silhouette shape without
The letter, the description.
I have a question, SB, is it the type of hat or is it the hat? You want no hat or you want a better hat?
To me, by looking at the picture, it says like a drunken playing guitar. That's how I picture it.
Okay.
Maybe it's just my imagination.
Can I say something? When I saw the hat too, I thought it was very stereotypical of a man. I feel like he just came from working from the farm, picking strawberries.
Inappropriate for a farm worker to play music?
Is he supposed to be a farm worker?
No, but if that's the depiction you had, would there be a contradiction that it was someone who was a day laborer in the fields that was also a musician?
When I look at the silhouettes, I want to see not just like a representation, but also I want people or even children to look at these and sort of like role models and what they aspire to be. And that's what, I was talking about with I know the fireman's not in here, but, it's something that they aspire to be. And to be a field worker, that's not something that I think they should aspire to be.
Anybody want to weigh in on whether a cowboy hat is more appropriate or a baseball hat?
The way I look at this, it's not any of these are depicting a profession. I think we took those out. It looks like the votes were pretty much more generic. So, for example, we do not have the custodian or the gardener or the fireman, but just people, someone who likes to play music, someone who's a parent, someone who skateboards. To me, these could be anybody. I did hear some comments when we had the public here saying, do we really want to encourage skateboarders? So I know that no matter what we do, it's going to say something, but to me, these just depict kind of generic, everyday people, and I actually was glad that these 4 were chosen versus some of the ones that were more specific in terms of, like I say, a custodian or an artist. But can I ask another question unrelated to that point? I'm just curious, I know that these are going to be, the idea is for them to be of durable steel and to resist any kind of vandalism. A couple of them, in particular the parent at the top, and it looks to me like these hands and arms that are out there. I mean, how vulnerable are those? Because they look kind of skinny. In fact, the one at the top right looks like it's on a smaller scale than the rest, and I don't know if that's just the way our pictures are.
What you see is currently the actual art that could be supplied to the metal fabricator. If there's any distortions that you see in figures, those things I could correct.
No, but I mean,
The
are
thickness-
those two at the same scale? Is this actually a smaller scale, like this parent and child is going to be a smaller scale than the musician?
Oh, thank you.
That's-
Okay, regarding scale, they're all 10 feet tall.
So yes, they would be.
So in many regards, the body mass is considerably smaller.
Okay.
But because these will never be seen together, I don't think someone would see a misrepresentation of scale as they encountered them in 4 different locations. So I think you see that misrepresentation in scale mainly because they're on a single page together.
Okay, but the little pieces aren't vulnerable, like the pigtails, they aren't going to be too skinny?
No, they're not vulnerable at all.
Okay.
Even if they were climbed on, which I'm hoping doesn't happen, they're substantially strong. It's a 1-inch thick solid aluminum.
Okay, so I didn't mean to change the
That's
subject
okay.
on that, but back to, I did see the comments about people wanting these not to be too culturally specific, and just from my view, they look okay in that regard. They're pretty generic, but everyone has a different view.
Okay, back to scale, just for reference, the words North Fair Oaks, those appear exactly the same size on all of them. So that's kind of the more unifying component of each one of them.
For the sake of timekeeper, can we at least, I didn't hear any comments about the father at Middlefield and Semicircular and the skateboarder at 5th and Fair Oaks. Do we have consensus on those two? And then we can talk about, and then actually the mother, well, I want to kind of screen out the ones that we're okay with. Is there consensus on the father and the skateboarder? Yes? Yes. Okay. And so
I particularly liked the parent and child at that location on Semicircular because I know it's right near a playground.
Parent and child at Semicircular. Oh, got it.
In front of Garfield.
Right near the tree. Okay, so what about the mother? There was a comment that it doesn't really look like a mother, but can you put a dress on her?
I actually, I agree.
That could be modified, or?
I prefer the generic parent as
The generic parent?
As,
Oh.
I have something to say about that too.
Yeah, okay.
Can I say something about that? I want to say something.
I just want to kind of narrow it down.
I think if we're going to have a representation of a father, I think we should also have a representation of a mother, just to kind of make it equal.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. So we're good with that, with the mother at community center?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, the community we serve, I mean, we have a lot of single mothers in this neighborhood.
Right.
I work at a school, and there's a lot of single mothers. And when the kid sees us, like, Mom, look, it's me and you. Let's think about it how our generation's going to see it, of course, and they're going to see a picture. Oh yeah, that's always going to be something we remember about our community. So we have to think about, what are the kids going to see in these images? What are the parents going to see? Because sometimes images speak as language to people, and we have to be a representation of that for them. So I like that picture.
And especially at that location.
Correct.
At the community center. Yeah, I think that's perfect.
I just drew a thick ponytail on the mother, and I really like it. And
Okay.
I like your comments that it's more distinctly a mother. That's easy to do. The suggestion of the dress is less a good idea, and the reason is I need a certain width of the structural bottom to be approved by the civil engineer. And if I give her skinny legs, I'm going to be in trouble.
Can't you have a ponytail?
Just leave it.
I do. Where'd that come from?
Yeah. So that leaves the musician. So I've heard some comments that it's, I don't know, is it a negative, is it giving a negative picture or what?
Go ahead, Ever.
What's your thought?
I have a suggestion in that regard about the musician, and going right along with what Rafael was saying about having these images representing something that perhaps is not representative of the community yet, but the community could aspire, especially younger generations. I was thinking that, you know, if the guitar or the hat seem stereotypical to some people, then perhaps instead of having a guitar, there could be a book on the hands of this individual, and I don't know.
The context is we worked really hard in presenting over 10 different designs to the public.
Yeah.
And right now, I think to go back and change the whole concept of one of them is asking quite a bit of change to occur. Because this has gone before the public, it's gone before the Public Art Committee. So changing the guitar to a book, I think, takes us right back to the beginning.
What about just removing the hat?
I'm very flexible to meet the desires of the public. So if the council tells me to remove the hat, you will probably disappoint another fraction that has approved the hat, but that won't be my responsibility.
Okay, so we got one to remove the hat.
Can I say something
Yeah.
on that? I know that when the kids that learn guitar at Siena Youth Center, they don't wear that hat.
They don't wear
They don't wear a hat like that to play music.
And they play the guitar?
They play a hat. They play it without a hat. I mean, I want our team to weigh in on this also. You guys, what do you guys think about this? It's important.
Actually, honestly, I'm good with the hat. Like, it looks good. Some people might take it in a bad way. But personally, when I see it, I don't really take it in a bad way. I don't know about Diane. Do you?
I mean, it doesn't really bother me. I never really thought too much about it. When I saw the hat, I didn't think anything stereotypical. I thought Bruno Mars. Bruno Mars sings with a hat. I mean, I don't really see a really big problem. I mean, it's just a hat. If some people want to take it stereotypically, they can take it stereotypically, but that's not really what it represents. We know what it represents. It's just a hat.
Okay.
It is important to remember that he's standing in the hot sun on the median street.
Yeah, he needs a shade.
All right, I need the mic, please. All right, I want to go ahead and.
I like the hat.
All right, well, we're going to soon see if the hat goes or not. Okay, so let's do, okay. Let me entertain a motion on just 3 of them, and we're going to do the hat separately. The father, the skateboarder, and the mother. I entertain a motion, please, to accept the proposals for the father, skateboarder, and mother.
I motion to approve the mother, the skateboarder, and the father 10-foot figurines for Middlefield, Community Center, and 5th and Fair Oaks.
Is there a second to Raphael's motion?
Just one question, but the mother is going to get
A ponytail. I'm sorry, yes.
We have to.
Okay, I second that.
All right. Okay, so there's a second to the motion, father, skateboarder, and mother with ponytail. Okay. Any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Any abstentions? No. Okay. Musician, let's just take it to a vote and see where we go. I'll entertain a motion to accept the musician at 5th near El Camino. Okay, Laura's made a motion. Is there a second to the motion?
Could you repeat that, Laura? I did not hear you, please.
Oh, I was just saying, just given the whole thing and the fact that I can't imagine him what he would look like without a hat, and I don't want to go back to ground zero. I don't know. I think we have musicians here. I move to accept the musician.
I second that motion.
Any further discussion?
I would like to modify permission to. I would like to permission to potential.
We're in the middle of a motion. The discussions for council.
Sorry.
Okay, any further discussion on the motion? No. And with no further discussion, all those in favor of the musician at 5th near El Camino, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
I oppose.
Okay, let's do okay, I need a hand count, please.
Yeah, sure.
All those opposed? 2, 3.
And I can just say each name, and then we can say.
Okay, so
name
all
and
those
name.
in favor, Diana?
Diane Cermeño? Yes.
Yes. Jose?
It's just one. Yeah, they would only get one.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Ever?
Ever?
Evers, aye. Laura? Linda, aye. Rafael?
No.
Beatrice?
Yes.
Mary? Espy?
Oppose.
Got it, Irving?
It's tie.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
This is good. This is good.
Okay, let's see. All right. Okay. So the motion doesn't carry. Kent, what's your suggestion? You were starting to say something.
After hearing the vote, my suggestion would be to learn so that I could make adjustments accordingly. So my question is to those that opposed it. Are you opposed to a musician, or is this about the hat?
It's not, I really appreciate that it's a musician, that's an art. And just like Espy was saying a little bit ago, how she feels like it's drunk musician. And if I'm, when she said that, I kind of saw that too. And that's just where I'm coming from and the community that I'm coming from. And if I were to think that, then I start thinking about what happens when people get drunk and domestic violence and that stuff,
Okay.
My reason is simply that I've never seen anyone playing a guitar with that hat in this community, or of that matter. I've never seen that.
And what about just the fact that he's a musician? You're okay with that?
Oh, I'm okay with the musician.
Okay.
I just, not the style. I've never seen it in this community, and style is important for community. Culture is important, and I've just never seen that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well, believe me, I'm in business for over 20 years. I sell hats, all type of hats. And I see musicians and groups playing all over. I know lots of musicians, bands, mariachis, whatever. They don't dress like this.
Okay, based on that, the feedback from 3 out of the panel, I suggest that I do a modification to the hat.
Okay.
A quick sketch here showed me also just by reducing the volume of the bottom of the hat, it isn't so stylistically like a sun hat, which could fundamentally change. And I don't have the luxury of having a musician like this, because it then would have to change locations because the width is too long. So a musician that is playing with in this position is doing this, which I would take any and all suggestions how to make the musician stand so he doesn't feel like he's intoxicated, but instead just feels like he's
Well, the way you're standing now, it's not the way the figure looks like. It's more like, back. Okay.
So, point of clarification, Beatrice, was yours yes or no? Because I heard.
Hers was a yes.
Oh, okay, so.
Oh, Beatrice was yes.
Okay. Because I heard 2 voices. So.
No, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
6, 4, and 3 against.
6, 4, and 3 opposed.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We're still not. Yeah, we're still not good.
I seek permission to modify the hat and to modify the standing position of the musician so that we don't, because we all agree a musician is okay. Therefore, what we don't have to do is go back to the public in disappointment that their decision wasn't influenced.
So we've already then voted on 3 out of the 4. Are we, time-wise, Peggy, can we have one more time, some more time to look at the modification? I don't want to rush people into this without seeing how it's going to be modified.
Yes, you could do that, but the one thing I think you need to be, and that's fine.
Okay.
Our hope was to have these done by June 30th this year, and from what I understand from Kent, we need to have them all fabricated at the same time.
Oh,
There's cost effectiveness, so it wouldn't be like we'd go out and have 3 made and then have the 4th made. We would want a contract for all 4 at the same time.
Okay.
Chair, I have a suggestion.
What's your suggestion?
Can we just put a baseball cap on him?
In the early sketches, there was a baseball cap, and people opposed the baseball cap. So there's.
I've heard.
It went
I've
from
heard more.
mariachi to baseball, and then to.
I've heard more
a hat in the
opposition
sun.
about the hats. So, what I'm going to suggest is that it sounds like we need to move on this tonight. What I'm going to suggest that if people are happy with the fact that the hat's going to be taken off the musician. It's not so much about the musician, it's about the hat. If people are comfortable, I assure you that Kent can work wonders, and I think he will make it look good. And maybe this week or next week, you can email something to council or go to have Irving send us something real quick.
I would be glad to email a revision to LA for the council to
all right,
review.
let's do that. But yes, go ahead.
It seems like SB is kind of an expert in this area because she sells hats and she knows musicians. So maybe you could consult with her, and I don't know, what do you think about that? And work together with 1 or 2 people here, come up with your revision and email it.
Can we just give a
I
suggestion?
assure you, I've been a professor of art for 25 years. I've been making visual images for 35 years. I know now what you are looking for, and it will be delivered.
Okay, without a hat.
No, a revised hat.
Oh, revised hat, okay, all right.
Can we just give a quick suggestion since we're the youth? Well, I would suggest more of a Bruno Mars style hat. It's not, I feel like most of what's going on is with the brim of the hat. It looks kind of stereotypical. With his stance, I'm fine with, because I feel like if he's just standing regularly, he doesn't really have that much spirit in him. And the way he's standing, he's like into his guitar. He's into his music. And when you're going into the community, you feel that cultural, like the love that people have for their culture. And his stance shows love for his music and his guitar. That's just my opinion.
Okay.
Thank you, Ken.
What is the pleasure of the council to proceed with adopting or approving the musician with modifications, or will people feel more comfortable looking at the modification first? Because then we're going to have to carry this out. Yes.
I move to approve that Kent make his modification and that he email it to us, and if there are violent objections, would we make any other change? But otherwise, we would approve it based on his understanding of what we're saying here tonight. That's my motion.
I second that motion.
Okay. Any further discussion on the motion? So basically, to approve it, knowing that Kent is going to make some modifications based on our comments and send us something, and then we will, if we need to do something different, we'll do that. But for now, to get the project going, adopt it. And there is a second to that motion. Any further discussion?
Can I just ask one last question?
Sure.
My question is in regards to maintenance. Is there a budget plan for maintenance or in the case of vandalism to any of these figures? Is that considered?
There has been no budget that has been set aside for maintenance. But one of the reasons why an exact color palette hasn't been determined is because of the complexity right now in the industry of getting the colors we're looking for in the most long-lasting, durable colors. And one of the characteristics of that decision is the ease of removing graffiti without damaging the surface. So the research tells us right now the colors we're going to choose are going to be as durable as possible so that the colors don't have to be replaced in years to come, and that a anti-graffiti clear coat will be put on top of them, allowing some aggressive action if a substance is put on them that is difficult to remove. One of the things that we've also talked about is, but it's gone no further in discussion, this would probably have to be another budget item for the county, is there are many counties that coat their walls that get tagged, sculptures, signs that get tagged with what's called a sacrificial barrier. And a sacrificial barrier is removed very easily with a solvent, and the graffiti, the spray paint, comes right off. And then a sacrificial barrier has to be put back on. And so there are communities around the country that pay a service to put a sacrificial barrier on locations that are constantly being hit, so they don't have to be repainted, but instead it's just easily be removed. So the county members here have been educated about that, but the Public Art Committee didn't make any recommendations to put a budget towards that,
Right.
as that would be a budget item that would occur long after the sculptures are in place.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, we have a motion.
The other,
oh,
just to make sure I'm answering the question, the
I think you
other reason, originally we had blue and red selected, and it was determined that those would probably be the two colors in our county that would be tagged the fastest. So that's why there was a color shift since the last time I presented here at the council.
That's right. That's right. There's a motion on the floor. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Thank you so much, Public Art Work Group. Kent, thank you very much. Ellie, thank you. And can we look forward to getting something in the next 2 weeks, or what?
Absolutely.
Is that realistic?
Realistic.
In the next 2 weeks, okay.
And I'll conclude by saying I really appreciate your desire to see things improved, because you are the community also. So I think the improvements that were suggested today are in fact improvements in my mind also.
Thank you very much.
But I'd like to also say thank you to Kent for, I think, donating your time to this public art effort, which has been huge.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and move to the Parks Department. Marlene Finley.
Good evening, council members. Thank you for inviting me tonight. I'm Marlene Finley, the director of the San Mateo County Parks, and I prepared a little PowerPoint slideshow to talk a little bit about what's going on in parks in your community, and also tell you what has gone on in other unincorporated areas throughout the county. Also, talk a little bit about the future and what we're working on as far as a new policy for mini parks. So I have the mission of San Mateo County Parks up here on the screen. As you can see, we preserve our county's natural and cultural treasures, we provide safe and accessible parks and recreation and learning opportunities to enhance community quality of life. What we don't have is a policy for county parks that includes mini or urban parks. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a minute. I did want to share with you that in the last month, the Board of Supervisors approved adding this element to our strategic plan for San Mateo County, and that's healthy parks, healthy community. We didn't have that healthy aspect to our strategic plan for county parks, which is so important. We know a lot of, one big motivator for people to get outdoors is to get active and get healthy. And we're really promoting that with our county health system as our partner. So when I looked at our the need and the demand for small urban parks and mini parks in our county, and how increasingly county parks is being looked at in the unincorporated areas to provide those small parks, North Fair Oaks included, I saw that our traditional niche for the county has been these large regional parks, natural areas, and we didn't have a clear policy. So the Park and Recreation Commission for the county formed the Mini Park Subcommittee, of which Chair Lopez is on the committee, Council member Laura Kaplan, as well as some of the folks in the audience. So we're working on our mini parks policy. And the process for this policy is we've just about have a draft that will go to the Parks and Recreation Commissioners on our next meeting, which is April 9th. And if approved, that'll move on to the Board of Supervisors. This legitimizes the county parks' role to spend money to make these mini parks just as important as all the other parks we manage in the system. And it also will encourage that we have partners to support us in identifying these parks and taking care of these parks. Well, another thing that I did, what I reviewed this week when I was asked to come to you tonight, is I took a look at all the various assessments that have been done and recommendations for North Fair Oaks. And I also asked the county health system, the policy and planning division, to run some statistics for me and do some data analysis. So they did, the policy and planning folks and the epidemiologists in the health system did find some socio-demographic information, but they didn't have the health information ready at hand. Where for other parks of the county, we have what's called a park score, which was developed that overlays indicators of health with the inventory of parks. So I think we should still do that and ask the county health system to provide that to us, because they've done some phenomenal mapping, and I don't want North Fair Oaks to be left out. But what I did find I have on the screen, and that is the number of people per square mile, that it's the highest density population in the county, as you know, and that 50% of the residents rent, and there's few backyards for kids to play in, and that there's only 0.03 acres of active parks per 1,000 people in North Fair Oaks, compared to the average of 3 acres of active park area per 1,000 in other cities in the county. So there's a dramatic difference there. So let's talk a little bit about what planning assessments have been done. And there's been a lot, and there continues to be. And you can see on the screen, right now there's a bicycle and pedestrian safe access project going on. That's the health system is working on that, and we're a partner with them, that Parks and Health. North Fair Oaks Community Plan that you know of well. The existing condition analysis that was done to inform the community plan, that was in 2010. The Trust for Public Lands inventory and workshops that many of you participated in, that was 2014. and then the North Fair Oaks Work Group for Parks and Open Space and the Vision Plan that came out of these assessments. So there's been studies done, and where's the action, right? So what did these studies find? In 2010 and 2014, they look exactly alike when I looked at them. Significantly deficient in neighborhood and community parks. Playgrounds are not adequately maintained. Many residents do not have access to existing parks because of physical barriers like the railroad. No multi-use trails. That was in the 2010 study, and that was, those linear parks came out strong in the 2014 workshops. People wanted linear parks. And the programming's inadequate, recreation programs. So here's the recommendations. Partner with neighboring jurisdictions. Expand joint use agreements with the schools, more transit and bike trails, address the railroad barrier, create multi-use trails along major corridors, including the Hetch Hetchy right-of-way, SFPUC, partner with nonprofits in Redwood City for programs, and create linear parks. And these are very similar to what was voted highest in 2014. So we kind of did the same thing twice. Now I want to show you what was done on the mid-coast in the unincorporated area of San Mateo County. So in the mid-coast in 2002, a needs assessment was completed. And in that needs assessment, it was identified that 5 mini parks are needed on the coast, 4 neighborhood parks, a little bit larger, and then 1 to 2 large community parks. So they identified exactly how many parks they needed. Then they went, the step 2 was to do a mid-coast action plan for parks and recreation. And within that action plan, it speaks specifically to building out and specifying the number of acres and trails needed, acquisition and development costs, which are very important. How much is it going to cost? And just to give you some thumbnail, the Friendship Park is costing county parks, we're spending about $30,000 a year because it's been about a year now. And that's and we also have a lot of support from the community, from the Green Team, from Sheriff's Athletic League and others, and Collective Roots. And then Flood Park, just over in Menlo Park, which is also a county park, 21 acres, costs us $546,000 a year, much larger park. So costs are important. Acquisition and development costs, how much is it going to cost to acquire and develop? Recreation programming costs, and then maintenance costs and management costs are all in that action plan, which is really helpful when you go for grants and you go for partners. So what they're doing today on the Mid-Coast, we're working on the Mid-Coast, we're working with the Mid-Coast Community Council, is they're implementing the plan with partners like grants from the Coastal Conservancy. Also, they got the development fee for the Mid-Coast, so whenever somebody remodels their house or a new development goes in, a percent of fees paid, and that goes into an account that County Parks holds that then we use to help with the parks on the Mid-Coast. And just recently, the Granada Sanitary District became the Granada Community Services District. So that's similar to CSA 8. Well, it's a special district, and they broadened their scope to include parks and recreation. And that was all part of the plan, was to have these other entities. So also it spoke to county parks, friends groups, and others working together, and that's happening. And with parks, I provide an annual update to the Mid-Coast Community Council on how things are going, just like I'm speaking with you tonight. So let's talk, to wrap up, let's talk about today and tomorrow. So we have Friendship Park, it's a year old. We're just started work on a renovation for Flood Park, the 21-acre park in Menlo Park, which Rafael Avendano tells me is an 8-minute bike ride from here. And also, what's the future? If the mini parks policy passes, how about a park a year? Whether we adopt a park or create new parks, create linear parks, or other. So that's what I'm sharing with you today is what you can see is there's some room. I think we have some areas we can work on with the costing elements and with having a plan for how many parks we need, where they're going to be. We have the inventory from TPL. Let's start picking them and working on it. And that completes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Marlene. Thank you. questions for Marlene? Yes, Ever.
At some point, one of the earlier versions of, I believe it was the North Fair Oaks Forward Plan, included utilizing the Hetch-Hetchy as a possibility for green areas and perhaps cycling routes or pedestrian routes. Is this still being considered or no longer? Do you know?
I know it, in my experience, the year I've been in this position, it's been hard to get those revocable licenses from the SFPUC. Friendship Park, we had a lot of community partners working with us to get that right at the 11th hour before we started the build. And right now we're working, we still don't have a revocable license for Flood Park, which has Hetch-Hetchy running under it, to lay down the turf so the kids can play ball. That turf is sitting there in big rolls, just waiting. And every day that goes by is a day kids can't play out there. So it's hard, but it's not impossible.
I like that. That's good.
Thank you.
Can I answer a little of that?
Sure.
From what I understand, the SFPUC got kind of caught where they didn't expect it, having to put a lot of the parks and playgrounds back together after the pipeline project, and they instituted a moratorium, at least for now, on creating new ones. So that's some of their reluctance, as I understand it. Another part of the reluctance is the county was, I know, instrumental in trying to create gardens, trail, whatever, in a part of my neighborhood that goes between two rows of houses on Hetch-Hetchy land, and there was like one person who objected strongly, and if there is someone backing up to that property that objects, they won't go for that either, because they aim to please their they've got certain guidelines. So you're right, it's been very difficult, to say the least.
Any other questions?
Okay, I think we're good. Thank you so much, Marlene.
I have one question.
Oh, go ahead.
Can you email me that PowerPoint?
Oh, certainly.
Thank you.
Sure.
And I do know the Parks Work Group is meeting this month, or next month, right? In March?
I don't know.
Oh, it's next week. Excuse me.
Oh,
yeah.
the mini parks group's
the mini
meeting
parks,
next week.
Right,
Yes.
right. So to even refine the policy, the draft, so that work continues. But thank you so much.
Sure.
So we have Public Works.
Good evening, council members. I'm Joe Lococo with Public Works. I'm the Deputy Director in Road Services. We're the maintenance arm of Public Works, so if you see the guys doing the pothole repairs, responding during a storm event, that's our guys out in the field. But I also work very closely with our engineering group. We work closely as a team towards the implementation of projects countywide. So tonight, what I understand is that broadly you have some questions about drainage in North Fair Oaks. So rather than a presentation, because I didn't really know what you guys might be after, I wanted to come here and just make sure that I was entertaining your questions. And I think I'd probably be able to generally provide you some background on any drainage-related questions that you might have. If not, I can certainly go back and get those. So I'd like to just, what I was envisioning tonight is I'd just kind of open it up to your questions, whether they're historical, whether it's about where we are today or moving forward. And so with that.
So I can answer some of that. This is tied into the discussions around the CSA 8, Community Service Area 8, discussions that the council has had. And there were two areas, the area around stormwater management has come up, but not so much as a project to fix it, but more around the community education piece of it. And also, actually specifically, a community education campaign that addresses storm drain issues. And the last discussion that we had with LAFCO and at our last study session, it came up that Public Works, we wanted to get information from Public Works on what exists right now as far as any kind of a community education program, what resources you have, and just start to look at that and put together that type of a program.
Yeah, so unfortunately,
I think the last time I'm aware of anything going on was when I forgot what supervisor it was, I think it was Tom Heuning, where they painted something on the drainage.
Right, so that was a countywide effort. And so the storm drain
on the
facilities
storm
that you will see
right.
drains to the bay or drains to the ocean.
So that was the direction that the discussion was going in.
Okay, and so that was done years ago. I think probably within the last 2 years, most of those stencils on the, and again, this is wherever you have a box that's accepting water that is ultimately draining out. Those were replaced. So the stencils have a practical lifespan. You probably go about 5-6 years before you have to go ahead and replace those stencils again. So those have been replaced. That is not only something that's desirable as far as a community outreach and education piece, but it is actually something that is also required as part of the mandate by the California Regional Water Quality Control Board. So you'll see those not only in county jurisdictions, you'll see those around in other jurisdictions as well. Beyond that, as far as additional outreach, I don't know. I'm not aware of any additional outreach that's out there. I know what we do on the road maintenance side of it is we do make some efforts every year to make sure that our storm information sheet is front and center on our Public Works site, so that if you have questions about where you can get sandbags or how to prepare during a storm event, that if you link to our site, it would be, it should still be on there. We normally put it front and center beginning about December and then generally through the winter, so that during a large storm event, people have a resource there so that they know what to do, how best to respond to protect themselves. Locally, we also have, just to let you know, at our Grant Yard facility in Redwood City, that is just north of Woodside Road. We do have sandbags there, piles of sand, piles of bags. Generally, the sandbags themselves, we ask that people just take a limited number of those and then make as many bags as they want. So we try to provide unlimited sand, unlimited bags, but we have a limited ability to make bags. We'll try to make as many as we can. But it's interesting, when we had a larger storm event this year in December, it was amazing. The media did a great job of advertising a large storm on its way. And we went through about 20,000 pre-made bags over the course of 3 or 4 days, which I don't remember doing that here in my time at all. It may have been 1998 when we had just an absolutely huge winter where we had those kinds of numbers, but the media did a really good job of advertising.
Okay. Yeah.
So, just getting back to what our questions were, I had emailed something about this, but maybe it was too late today. By the time I got the question, what we had talked about was the potential for using the CSA 8 fund balance that exists to do an educational campaign that would impact the community around Friendly Acres, but also in a broader sense, to not only educate them about the storm drain issues in terms of things like this flows to the bay, but also we had talked about the passive stormwater management and the idea of using less concrete and more impervious surfaces, so that we were talking about possibly doing some kind of an educational campaign around that, and our question was, do you have anything like that already going on and or planned, and what kinds of resources would you have available if we were to do that?
Yeah, so I tell you, at this moment, there really isn't anything planned, but those are things that we're talking about. And we are taking some steps that are focused on some of those efforts. So, for example, something that a new office that was developed within the county recently was the Office of Sustainability. And so the Office of Sustainability, it's a new office that is looking specifically at some of those types of things. You know, one of the, talk about, you know, shoulders, impervious surfaces, that's something that we're very attuned to. And so we haven't really come to any conclusions as to how we manage development in the future. But one of the things that we've talked about specifically is that it may be that where we need to go is that within the shoulder areas where people are allowed to pave the shoulders beyond the road, that we move in a direction of requiring that whatever they put in be a permeable surface of some kind, so that you have a little bit more ability for the roadsides, the edges of the roadsides to intercept water, and you're just not pushing water downstream. North Fair Oaks is a little bit challenging in that respect because if you're looking at communities that are a little bit more upstream of North Fair Oaks, you have the advantage of the soil under the ground tends to be more porous. The water levels tend to be a little bit lower. So the water that's able to seep in through dirt shoulders is also able to disperse a little bit more readily. In North Fair Oaks, I guess one of the challenges that we have is generally what we consider the underlaying ground. It's a bay mud, and the bay mud is mostly saturated, and it has the ability to absorb some moisture, but it is a much more limited ability. But we are sensitive to any kind of development, including work that might occur on roadway shoulders, and I think we're going to go in the direction of really requiring that any work done off to the sides of the roads, that be pervious, that allow the water to seep in, so that we're not just adding more quantity of water downstream. One of the policies that already exists is that if somebody develops within the community, they are required to put in some kind, it typically ends up being a box of some kind, a underground box that is able to collect the water. The standard is that box that they put in, or something comparable, needs to be the equivalent as far as its ability to accept water, to offset the additional impermeable surface that they might add by expanding the house footprint, putting in a wider driveway or something of that nature. Planning and building is really the entity that deals with the private development part, but Public Works is very much focused on what happens within the right-of-way. And typically, you know, a road might be 20 feet wide, a right-of-way might be 50 feet wide. So when you look at a roadway and when you talk about what is Public Works interested in, we may be interested in an area that's 15 to 20 feet beyond the edges of the road, because that's the right-of-way. That's the part that, even though we're not really working in that area, we manage that. We manage that through a permitting process.
Okay. Thank you, Joe. Peggy, correct me if I'm wrong, but we have time this year to follow up on this subject and get together again with Public Works, maybe in a study session format, and actually put our ideas together on what we want to propose as far as a community education campaign in collaboration with Public Works and with what you're already doing and everything. But I think that you now have a more clear idea of where we were going with this. So, but I thank you. For the sake of time, I'm going to cut the discussion. A quick for Joe.
So, because it sounds like maybe, I don't even know if working with us on an educational campaign is something that you would think would be useful versus just creating policy and having, the permitting and policy process in terms of what's built. I mean, that's, to me, where this was going. It sounds like, I'm not sure if the educational campaign that we thought about would even be useful.
Well, I think it's worthy of some additional discussion, and I think I think there are a couple things at play. Is it may be that we develop some proposals and we go ahead and advise you of what those proposals are. So it may be that, and I'm not quite sure. I'd have to talk with our deputy director in engineering. So her group is the one that manages CSA and the funds there. So my group is kind of, our funding source is a little different, and so I'm not that involved in that part of it, although, as I indicate, we coordinate and quite closely as much as we can, because obviously what engineering does, what maintenance does, all that overlaps. But yeah, what I'd suggest is that maybe we bring this back for some internal discussion and we can have some additional discussion with you moving forward. And we may have some suggestions as to what that looks like, whether it stems from a proposal that we push forward or if we enter into some dialogue with you and then try to move something forward from there.
Okay, I think that's good. Thank you very much, Joe.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Okay, we are, I'm sorry, running over, but we are going to have the North Fair Oaks Forward Report.
Good evening. I'll make it short and sweet, although I had something written, but. So on behalf of our team, just like to welcome Mary and Ever. We're really looking forward to working with you both. And just as a reference, my name is Ashley Quintana, and I'm part of the North Fair Oaks Outreach Team. And that includes myself, Ellie Dahlman, Pat Brown, and Peggy Jensen. And we strive to engage, and we're dedicated and focused to engage the community members, business owners, and others in North Fair Oaks in future developments in the community. So in regards So today we're here to talk about the business sustainability plan that you all requested when the development of the Middlefield Road redesign. So currently we have interviewed, or in the process of interviewing business owners all along Middlefield Road. That is from MacArthur all the way to 8th Avenue, and several businesses along the side streets, as we know that they will also be affected. Questions range from basic contact information, business hours and operation questions, to specific questions as what is your parking situation, and most importantly, just giving them the time and place for them to express their concerns and any questions they may have. We're really, really excited to share our results, and that will be happening either next month in your council meeting, where Frida Manuel, who is from the Real Property Division, will come and present those to you all. Good. So if you have any questions, please let us know. We're here to answer any doubts or concerns you may have. But we're looking forward to sharing those results with you.
So you're going to continue for the next 3 weeks?
Yes, so currently we have around 56 that we've interviewed, and every interview ranges from 15 minutes to 30 minutes. I mean, we don't really cut them off. We give them as much time as they need, but average is around 20 minutes. And there's around 100 businesses on Middlefield Road, and we are striving to finish around mid-March. So we are out there in the field. You'll see us with our polos, so if you're on Middlefield, please say hi, and that's what we're doing.
Can I ask a favor?
Yes.
Can I ask, while you're doing that assessment, can you also take note of businesses that are multi-use?
Okay.
Businesses that have living space above the business? And I'm not saying to ask a bunch of questions, but just visually you'll see either homes above or homes behind, connected to the business. Is that something that's going to, you can do?
We can easily do that as we, walk the streets every day, and we can easily, write the address of that building and know that there is another floor of.
Is that Pat, is that feasible to include that in their information or not?
I think it's feasible. They've already done half of the interviews. So
okay.
Just being aware of that interest.
Just add another column to your spreadsheet and check off if it's
Yeah, I mean,
multi-use.
normally we get a lot of exercise every day, which is great. We'll just start from the beginning, and once we're walking down the streets, just checking on who we've interviewed and who we haven't, we can easily do that.
Okay. I guess we'll be doing a more thorough evaluation down the line, but that information is going to be helpful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions or?
Any questions? No.
Okay.
Thank you so much, both of you. Thank you. Okay, we're into council member reports and we're running late. Well, I guess we just do them then. Diane and Jose, you're going to give a youth report?
So we're reporting the part of the North Fork Youth Initiative, part of the OYA conference. The fourth official OYA conference is going to be on Saturday, May 16th, 2015, here at the Fair Oaks Community Center from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Groups and workshops that we will be presenting will be Zumba, breaking stereotypes, drugs and alcohol, and financial aid.
Okay. Jose, anything? Or that was it?
That's about it.
Okay. Any questions for Diane or Jose?
What date did you say the conference?
What date, Diane?
Saturday, May 16th, 2015.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Let's see. So we have, if you go to the little list of the update reports, we actually already covered Middlefield redesign. Because I had here a meeting with the merchants, so Ashley already covered that. Illegal dumping, is anything to report on that? No.
Do you want to talk about the date?
Yeah. I guess I can talk about briefly. So, so the date's going to be set for May 30th, which is a Saturday. It's going to be from 9 to noon. Saturday, May.
What? The garbage pickup?
Yeah, the North Fair Oaks Community Cleanup. It's going to be here at the Fair Oaks Community Center.
What's the date again?
Saturday, May 30th. From 9 to noon. And then I could probably talk about it more in details next month's reports.
All right. Thank you, Irving. CSA 8, I think we're going to put that, I want to move that because we already covered parts of it. Middlefield Road, Middlefield redesign, meeting with the merchants, we got that information. Is there any other questions regarding that or?
Linda, I would only add that I think that you and Dale have both received copies of the proposal for the consultant, the engineering consultant to do the redesign?
No, I haven't received anything.
You haven't?
Have not.
Okay. I think I know that you and Dale are going to be on the selection committee.
Right.
I'll double check and make sure that you've received the, I thought you received copies of the RFP, but you will be receiving copies of the proposals, I guess.
You mean a hard copy in the mail? Or
I thought so.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure. So I know that the RFP went out, and March 13th is the date where proposals will be accepted.
Oh, okay. No, I haven't seen anything yet.
Okay. Well,
But I am still
that.
interested in working on that.
Okay.
Okay, so, I'm sorry, for the new members, there is going to be a consultant hired to do the follow-up work on the Middlefield Road redesign, and that's what we're talking about. And they're going to be working very closely with all of us. Okay, council development.
We'll do that later.
On that, I believe the new council members are going to have more orientation, or they had it, or?
So half of your study session the next time is to talk about the design or the agenda for 2 training sessions for the council. There will be the session, remind me, in April and in May. Your 2 hours of study session in April and in May will be devoted to training.
Okay.
I know Pat has had a conversation with Ever, who is the liaison, and based upon his input, we have a sample agenda for those 2 sessions for you to consider next study session.
Okay, great. Great, thank you. And community issues dialogue. On this one, I had the housing workshop with the board, but Supervisor Slocum already had announced that there will be a study session on March 17th at 1:30, Board of Supervisor Chambers, and that's to discuss issues around affordable housing. And I believe the white paper on affordable housing will be presented at that time.
Yeah.
So that will be a really good study session. If you can make that, that'd be great.
The white paper will be posted on the county website early next week, and via Irving, we will send you the link.
Do you want me to repeat the date and time? Sure. March 17th at 1:30 at the Board of Supervisors Chambers at 400 County Center, first floor, near the door, near the back. Okay. And NFO Community Plan, I forgot why that is on there. I'll just mention that the work groups that were initiated through the community plan continue meeting. Zoning and parking work group is actually having a meeting, I think, in 2 weeks. Oh, next week too?
Third.
Oh, everything's next week, huh? Wow, okay.
March 3rd, Tuesday, March 3rd at 6:30.
At the Fair Oaks Health Center. I'm used to calling it the Fair Oaks Family Health Center for years. I haven't changed the name yet. No, it's going to be at the clinic, at the health center. And then the Public Art Work Group continues to meet. The Mini Parks Work Group is actually having a meeting also next week, I think at 2:30, and that's at the county building. No, 555 County Center, I believe. Is that correct? Thursday, March 5th at 2:30.
2 o'clock.
Oh, 2 o'clock, excuse me.
455.
Oh, not 555. Okay, 455. I haven't been in that building for quite a while, so I forget the numbers. I just remember 400 County Center. And then I guess the outreach work group continues to meet on a quarterly basis?
Yeah, every other month. It's
Okay.
meeting next week.
So everything, wow, that's going to be a loaded week. That's going to be a loaded week. So council members, those meetings are open to you, to the public. If you are interested, please make sure you go on to the NFO Forward website, and they post all the schedules for those work group meetings. And these are the work groups that came out of the North Fair Oaks Community Plan. They were formed after the plan was adopted, and they continue to do some of the busy work that's needed to formulate to work on the implementation of the plan, rather. And I think unless anyone has any other announcements or comments, we good? Yeah, everyone's tired. Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I second the motion.
Okay. No one made the motion yet.
I motion to adjourn today's meeting.
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for staying late.